Hello and welcome to the FNS41820 Certificate 4 in Financial Services Student Information Session. With me this morning, I have Iona McKinney, our Chief Academic Officer. Iona, welcome.
Thank you, James. It's great to be here. I'm really looking forward to talking about this Certificate 4 course. It's a great course.
Excellent. Well, look, let's get underway. And the first thing I'd like to look at is a bit of background and I think an outline on the course. What are some of the key deliverables and what can students expect?
So the course is delivered over 12 months. It, it is, as I said, just as we were starting today, it's a great course because it covers a very broad range of things that we would do in in an office environment as far as administration tasks are concerned, which I suppose is why it's called financial services. So students will learn about working, not just working in the financial services industry, but working in a business in general. Um, Looking at maintaining records often in a small business, we do a whole range of tasks. So we don't just sort of do one role. Our roles are made up of lots and lots of different things that we do. So the course includes looking at maintaining those records and maintaining administration systems, as well as has a look at budgeting as well, developing spreadsheets, because often we use spreadsheets for multiple things that we do in any business environment. Looking at compliance management. So compliance management isn't just about the financial services sector. There's also compliance things that we need to consider in other sectors as well, like work health and safety, and maybe even standards and guidelines and other regulatory requirements. So we take a very broad brush with that, and we look at a lot of different contexts where we do have a compliance process. I think the real strength also of this course is the number of um, things that we learn in the course, which can take us into any industry sector in any context that we work in. And we call those transferable skills. So it really builds on the students' administration and communication, leadership, risk management, planning, project planning, um, are all sort of touched on in this course. So, as I said, it's a great broad course for people working in any environment where they touch on all those administration systems, or they're the office person, the office coordinator, or the office or the office worker, if you like. So they do general administration.
Yeah, so I think one of the key takeaways from that is whilst it is labelled the Certificate 4 in Financial Services, the application really extends beyond the financial services sector into a myriad of different business environments where one would be required to complete and manage administration tasks, execute those tasks. So really, the application is quite broad. And I think in extending on that, let's have a look at the course units themselves. Okay, what are some of the individual units that students are exposed to? And of course, what does this mean with respect to application a little bit further down the line?
So we've so as I mentioned before, it's a very the course is very broad. So it touches on all those aspects of things that we would do as an administrator in a business. So we did talk just before about working, and taking compliance process into account in our roles. Um, we also touch on sales plans and planning sales, inventories, budgeting, as I said before, payroll. Often we'll be working in a business. We might have even started our own business, for example, and we've got two employees, so we've got a very small payroll, and we need to actually maintain the payroll so our employees are paid. So the course actually really has a great payroll unit in it as well, so it supports us to learn how to do that. Dispute resolution and managing customers, customer service standards, because with every organisation we have clients and we have customers, so that interaction is very, very important. Organising and managing meetings is part of what we do on a day-to-day basis, so that has to occur as well. We mentioned spreadsheets and their importance just before. So um, spreadsheets we use for generating financial reports. We could be creating budgets. It could be our inventory record that's kept in a spreadsheet. Um, there's a whole range of things. We also utilize spreadsheets to do business analysis. So in this course, we look at customer service standards, and we look at how to manage engagement with customers from sales, for example. So we touch on that. We also look at leading effective workplace relationships, because as we're working in our new world of work, we're working very, very differently. So we often have people that are working remote or working from home, which is becoming more the norm. And we have our clients, and we also have our communication inside our organisation. So that communication, that workplace relationships factor of our roles has become more and more a focus of what we do. So we communicate more, and we communicate in different ways. So we also look at that. We know the world of work is changing. Um, excuse me. And we know that there are many different things that we need to take into account. So business analysis is part of that, and also that that communication factor. So we do look at that very, very closely, and of course that forms our transferable skills into a number of other different roles and a number of other pathways we can take as far as studies concerned as well.
Excellent. Now, with respect to the course structure, so the units are delivered sequentially, but what we all have up there is our core units and elective units. And often a question that comes up is, are there any choices or adjustments that can be made with respect to the elective units, or are they designed in such a way to, I think, acknowledge the outcomes of the course, particularly what it is that it's trying to achieve?
Okay, so there are some additional optional electives that are available to students, but we do encourage students to speak to the education advisor at their time of enrolment and explore those options, so we can just ensure that they're actually available to the student. Um, and we will work very closely with any student to actually tailor a course to their specific industry if we are able to. Yes.
Okay, so there may be a possibility, but the best thing to do, of course, is get in contact and speak with one of the education advice team, work out what's available, what it is that you want to do, and then maybe an option from there.
That's correct.
Excellent. Now, with respect to the application of the course in the real world, now we've picked just really one particular role here, and I think by this stage we've identified that the application of this course extends to all sorts of industries and, I dare say, many roles, but certainly with an accounts officer role here is just one example. We've got an average salary of 60,000 and job growth of 2.1%. The industry sectors, now we've talked a lot about financial services, but what we can see up here is accounting and bookkeeping, customer service, insurance. Even looking at the units themselves, there was human resources exposure there. There was also sales competencies exposure. So really, what we've got up here is really, I think, quite a brief list and just I think a shorthand number of examples of where we could expect application of this particular course. And of course, occupations which have been identified include bank senior officers, finance sector supervisors, customer service officers in financial services, but I dare say it could also be other, and of course, senior accounts officer there as well. Now, with respect to the units themselves and how they're brought to life through the learning material, I'm going to come back to you, Iona, to talk to us about what it is that the students get access to.
Okay, so throughout this course, students have access to textbooks, also additional reading in the form of learner guides. There's a video that students also watch. There is podcasts in one unit. Students also are able to explore a simulated business, and they utilize that business, which we'll talk about the assessment tasks in a moment, but they'll actually utilize that business as part of their assessment tasks as well. Students are able to access recorded tutorials for this for this course, and they're also able to access a number of presentations that are in PowerPoint form as well.
Excellent. And of course, all the learning materials that the students will need access to in order to complete the course are included. So there's no additional textbooks to purchase or anything like that. It's all included as part of the course and, of course, the enrolment fee itself. Now, the assessments. Okay, we've got a number up here, but of course, these don't all apply to every single one of those 13 units. They may, in fact, be spread across them. We could be exposed to 1 or 2 or 3 per unit. It's information that we know students are very, very interested in. Talk to us about what the assessments are and what's expected of those who complete the course.
Okay, so as students complete the course, the students will undertake a number of different types of assessment tasks. And really, the course is about office administration. So, for example, students may create a payroll record as an assessment task. So often the assessment task is literally an extension of what the student's been learning. So all of those things come together into a component where students are able to actually just show us that they can undertake to do that task. So assessment tasks always have a mix of different things in them. So students will come across short answer questions and a project task. Or students may come across some multiple choice questions, case studies and scenarios, and also creating presentations to inform other staff and team members. Maybe a presentation that's about customer engagement, for example. So commonly as students work through the assessments, there'll be a minimum of 2 different types of assessment tasks in your assessment. So you may have some short answer questions and some project tasks. You may have some long answer questions, some multiple choice and some research tasks. But it's for the assessment tasks in this course, they are really about the unit. So if the unit is about budget, students will be asked to create a budget and answer some questions about that. Maybe talk about the effect of a good budget on business continuance or something like that. So the assessments are not all of these ones listed at once. I'm very pleased to let everybody know. But you will come across a mix of these, maybe 2 or 3 different types of assessment tasks in each of your assessment.
Excellent. Now, in the previous slide with respect to learning material, we talked about the business simulator. So it's obviously one component of the learning material that students can build their assessments around. Mm-hmm. What about those who are currently working and applying examples from their existing workplace and building their assessments around that? What opportunities lie there?
So depending on the particular unit of study, some units do allow students to actually utilise their workplace, as it could be, there may be something that they're actually doing in their workplace that they're able to access. Some students, of course, don't have access to a workplace to be able to do that, which is why the business simulator is available. For observation tasks, for example, there are alternative assessments for students who do not have a workplace, but for students that are in a workplace, if there's an observation or a demonstration task, they're more than they are able to complete those in their own workplace. Yes.
Excellent. And then with respect to working through the units and of course the assessments, it is self-paced, but within that 12-month time frame. So, and of course that all depends really on how much time you can dedicate each day, each week, each month to completing those assessments.
That's right. Yes.
So the online learning experience itself, look, obviously a number of our students are quite familiar with online learning, but some aren't, okay, and it could really be the first time. So I thought what I'd do is just take a brief moment to go through what the online learning experience, particularly at Mentor, looks like. So In order to access the learning materials and the assessments, students do that through the learning management system, or the LMS. Now, that's made available really through just about any internet browser. So that could be your Firefox, that could be your Chrome, or of course your Mac equivalent. And so in addition to access to a browser, you also need a reasonably strong internet connection as well. Once logged in, anything and everything that you need to access course materials, the assessments, and all, really just about everything to complete the course, is available through the Learning Management System portal. One of the great benefits of that, of course, is that it provides flexibility. When you can log in and obviously do your work. So that you may choose to do that in the early hours of the morning before you start your work, or it could be when you get home from work, or it might even be at lunchtime at work, or if you're not working, then really any day, each day. The other thing is, certainly for those who would like access to the learning and reading materials, if they're in transit, so it might be that they're on the train or the bus or whatever it may be, through the Learning Management System portal, you can actually access that through any smart device. So that could be a phone or a tablet or whatever it may be. But when it comes to completing the assessments, we do recommend, of course, that students have access to a laptop or a desktop computer so that they can obviously complete those spreadsheets or type up those documents or whatever it may be. But getting back to what we mentioned earlier on, it is self-paced. Access the Learning Management System 24 hours a day. And of course, throughout that process as well, you provide it consistently with support, which brings us on to the next slide, where we do like to emphasise the amount of student support that we offer. So unlimited email and phone support is available to students, and that's certainly the phone support is 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, Melbourne and Sydney time. Email support, really 24 hours a day. Certainly you're welcome to send those emails in. Now, we say there that what we usually do is get back to students within a 48-hour period. However, more often than not, it tends to be a little bit of a shorter time frame than that. Now, I think also the other emphasis that I'd like to draw with respect to support is what's available to students in a one-on-one scenario. And of course, this is all included. And I'm going to hand on over to you to talk to us a little bit about some of the additional support other than what we've got listed up there.
Excuse me. Thank you, James. I guess we often say here at Mentor that we understand life happens. Often people have things that happen in their life, and study can become a challenge. So we try to support all of our students as much as we possibly can. We also understand that some students are returning to study after quite a few years, and may need additional support as well. So we also offer, and of course at no charge, we also offer additional support in the form of one-to-one sessions with educators that students are able to book. And if a student is needing support past that initial session, we're happy to work with the student until the student is comfortable and confident to continue their studies as they move through the course. We also offer additional tutoring sessions, which are one-to-one sessions. We also have scheduled in our tutorial program and our online classes program what we call our study support and assessment support sessions, which are part of the tutorial timetable. So students are able to actually access an educator for the course in real time via Zoom once a week as well. So there's a lot of additional options there that we provide for students. Students are also able, on occasion, to arrange outside office hours, so 9 to 5, additional support sessions that will fit with their lifestyle and fit with their work commitments as well. So there is additional support sessions that are available to students on a bookings basis between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock on Saturdays as well. So there's an extensive range of options that are available for students for one-on-one support and for tutoring, but there is also other supports that we provide as well. So there's no additional charges for course extensions, resubmissions, remarking, or for, as I mentioned before, the one-on-one student support sessions that are outside the tutorial timetable.
Excellent. I think probably just one thing to draw attention to with respect to that is communication, communication, communication. Um, we provide access to not only education advisors who can help align the course and its outcomes with what it is that you want to achieve, but we've also got dedicated student support officers who are there to help you with your online learning management system login, setting up those appointments that you made mention of before, and all those other things. And also, if there is a need to suspend your course for a period of time because you may need to go overseas or there's a family emergency or whatever it may be, give us a call, keep us in the loop, and let us know what's going on so that we can make those adjustments for you. Rather than sort of waiting to 11 and a half months and, sort of identifying you've really only got 2 weeks left to go to complete the course, and then telling us, oh, look, I actually had to go away for 3 weeks or whatever it may be. Tell us straight away, keep us in the loop, and that way we can really respond to, as what you said, life happens. We acknowledge that learning these days is so much different to what it was in that kind of rigid structure we've had in the past. So it's about making it work for you, partnering with Mentor Education so that really essentially as a team we can achieve those outcomes. And that's what brings me on to a number of questions which we often get asked. And the first one is, can I get government funding? And the short answer to that is no. Everything is self-funded. However, we do have payment plans and options available for those who'd like to take advantage of those. And the best way to get more information about that, of course, is to head on over to the website or speak to one of the education advice consultants. With respect to starting, you can start just about any time. We do recommend, though, if you'd like to start that night or get your enrolment into us by 4 p.m, and you can do that all online through our secure online enrolment portal. Or if you'd like to start that weekend, make sure you get it into us by 4 p.m. on the Friday, and that way, of course, you're able to get stuck into your studies that weekend. Yes, it is all included. So the assessments, the course material, the additional support should you need it, the extensions, the resubmissions, anything and everything that we mentioned is all included in the enrolment fee. So once you're enrolled, there's no concerns about any additional fees coming through. Difference with study options, we made a little bit of a mention of that before. Of course, what we do is we make tutorials available in a number of units where we possibly can, and we always recommend students take advantage of those. Particularly with a course like this, where there will be a number of different areas that you'll touch on. It's really beneficial, of course, to get that real-time interaction, not just with your educator, but of course also with other students in the cohort. So you do really get that sense of learning online, but also being part of an education institution. Yes, the course is nationally recognised in all states and territories across Australia. There are no prerequisites, an open entry course, but we do like students, of course, to have a reasonable command of the English language and numeracy skills there as well. And with respect to how long do people take to finish, 12 months is the prescribed time frame. Some may finish a little bit earlier if they can dedicate more hours to it, but in response to that question, really the best thing to do is think 12 months. Now, we had some great student outcomes last year. This is an opportunity for, I think, for us, particularly you, Iona, to talk about some numbers that we are quite proud of. We continue to work on. Take us through what we've got up here in front of us now.
So what we're seeing here on the screen is what our students say about us. So as James said, we are very, very proud of this. But we like to include this in our student information sessions because as a prospective student, those attending, we believe would like to know what our students think about us. So, as I said, we are very proud of this, and these statistics here on the screen are part of the National Centre for Vocational Education and Research Student Outcomes Survey for 2020. So every year, students across Australia are surveyed and asked questions about their education institution. So 92% of Mentor Education graduates achieved employment or enrolled into further study after training. 91.6 was satisfied with their overall quality of training, and 90.2 was satisfied with their assessment and their forms of assessment, and 86.5% of our students would recommend us as a training provider. I think the feedback from our students demonstrates to those attending that Mentor is a learning community, and we support our students' commitment with our commitment to support our students to achieve their aspirations for their career and their education.
And I think probably one other thing to mention here, which we haven't talked a lot about, and this sort of goes back to that 92% of our students being employed or enrolled in further study after training. And course, the Certificate 4 in Financial Services really could be the beginning of one's academic journey or academic pathway, if you will. And of course, from there, we've got options to move into Diploma of Business, Advanced Diploma of Business, Diplomas of Leadership and Management, right up to a graduate diploma in leadership. So really, there are many options to, I think, develop on the skills that you pick up in the Certificate 4 in Financial Services, and pick a path that's appropriate for you, and make it part of an extended skills and knowledge and really academic journey.
Well, the other pathway that's available to students from this course is also accounting and bookkeeping. So students are able to, on completion of the Certificate 4 in Financial Services, able to enter the Diploma of Accounting pathway with credits. So they're able to undertake a Diploma of Accounting, which in turn leads to an Advanced Diploma of Accounting, which is a 6-month credit for application for an undergraduate course at a number of universities across Australia. So there are some really great pathways from this course. Students may want to complete a diploma, go to do a Diploma of Business and then do a Diploma of IT, for example. So the course is a great pathway course, and it's a great gateway course, if you like, because it opens so many gates and so many different paths, depending on where the student where the student wants to go with their career and their education.
Now, with respect to the pathways, now I know that certainly with the FNS41820, the Certificate 4 in Accounting and Bookkeeping, students will start to develop knowledge and competencies around accounting packages such as MYOB. Is there any such exposure in this particular course?
There certainly is, especially in the payroll course and the payroll unit and the inventory unit and the budgeting unit. Students will be using MYOB in the course. But if students are using Xero, for example, they're able to, in the workplace, they're able to complete some of the tasks using the software that they have, but not all. But software is supplied with the course for those units. There's no need to purchase additional subscriptions.
Excellent. And look, before we go, for those who are interested in more information about the course, there's a number of ways in which you can do that. Of course, you can pick up the phone and give us a call on 1300 306 146 and speak with a dedicated education advice consultant. So they'll take the time to go through what it is that you're doing, where it is that you'd like to go, how the course might fit in with what you're doing at the moment. We can explore payment options, all those kind of things. You can also email them directly. So that's courseconsultant@mentor.edu.au. And if you'd like to do, of course, some more research on your own, head on over to mentor.edu.au and over to the FNS41820 Certificate 4 in Financial Services course page. And anything and everything that you'll need, plus what we've covered today, will be available for you. Now, for those who've got their phone handy, if you scan that QR code up on the screen now, that'll actually take you directly to the Certificate 4 in Financial Services course page. So that brings us to the end of today's student information session. We hope you found it really beneficial. As always, we look forward to seeing you as students very soon. Iona, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, James, and I look forward to meeting any of our students who continue with their enrolment in the course.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Are we done?
Hang on.
Yep. Oh.